So it's been a lot going on with Primetime, aka Coach Deion Sanders at Jackson State University. So he got a job offer to go and coach for Colorado, which is a PWI. Jackson State University is a HBCU. Shout out to our HBCUs. We are a HBCU supportive brand and platform. You know what I mean? So all day long. So you know, a lot of people. There's a lot of controversy around Coach Prime's decision to take the new job at Colorado. Do you have any initial thoughts on that, Ms. Dani Rai, the Juice Queen?
Listen, money talks. And you know what walks. So I think at the end of the day, like, I'm grateful that he came to Jackson State University. And I think that everybody has freedom to choose, right? His kids went to HBCUs. Like, we know where his heart lies. I don't think we, should question, like, is he for historically black universities? And, if he has supported them. I mean, he's paid college tuition. I think 3 kids have gone to HBCU. I know, a couple of them for sure. That's where his dollars have gone, and I think what he did for Jackson State was dope. I think that money is big money elsewhere, and it's not. It may not even be a permanent move. It's kind of like he needs the experience, and I think if he's able to go to Colorado and turn their situation around, it will speak volumes to who he is as a coach. I mean, some of us are already aware of who he is and his abilities, but there are some naysayers and, some doubters out there. So kudos for him for making a decision and going where the money resides, because I just can't be mad at that. Like, I cannot be upset with that decision. From what I hear, Colorado hasn't been good in a very long time. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think, like, that's amazing. Like, again, if he can go up there and do some miraculous things, then nobody should have any more questions.
I agree. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you got to give stuff time to play out, right? So this could be a long-term strategic play. Yeah. For Deion. Like she said, he might be kind of figuring out another way to kind of redirect and kind of bring attention, to our communities. Right. You know what I mean? So, and usually those top programs is mostly dominated by black players anyway. You know what I mean? So he'll have influence not only at a big school, whatever, but still he's going to be touching, some of our youth, if not, a majority percentage as far as the players on the team. But I mean, my initial thoughts about just the whole conversations that are going back and forth, because I hadn't really like sat back and kind of assessed the whole thing. But one thing I hate, and I think it's new slave mentality, is when people are counting somebody else's pockets. So
that is like, we should just do a list of like new slave mentality, like like a whole hierarchy of like from, the top. I think that would be like at the very, very top. In fact, it kind of coincides with the whole crab in the bucket mentality, right? It's this perception that somebody has it better than you, and then clawing at them, to pull them down. And I think that is like that's the greatest threat to people of color today, is this whole like perception of what somebody else got going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, focus on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have things that you need to do. Right? You can't hate on the next person because you don't know what they're doing in their free time. Yeah. You don't know if they have free time.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, how like, people are like commenting as if they know like how much, resources, how many assets, what his assets look like, what his portfolio looks like. People don't know what, like, when you get to a certain level, the average person has expenses, you know what I mean? So when you get higher and higher up, that doesn't mean your expenses stay the same. That means you probably have more people to look after, more people to take care of. More people are relying upon you for their livelihood. And I don't think people realize the significance of other people relying on you long term for their livelihood. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So, so this man got a new job offer, which is, to my understanding, 10x his salary. Shout out to my boy Rob J, 10x, but 10 times his salary. I don't know how many people would turn down, a new opportunity to make 10 times what they're making currently.
Right.
But it's easy to sit back and count somebody else's pockets and say, oh, well, he's already rich. And let me be the first to, let me be emphatically clear about this. Fame does not equal wealth or does not equal being rich.
You hear me?
It does not.
And I think we should have gotten that lesson by now, because there's a lot of people with a whole lot of Instagram followers and they making no money.
Right, just because you have a platform, just because you have a spotlight or whatever, that does not mean that your dollars are matching what your spotlight is and what your actual value is.
Yep.
So I think we need to be careful about automatically jumping to the assumption that because somebody has made a lot of money or, you know, or is in a certain light, a public light, that they automatically have it like that. So,
and you know, this is my thing. Like, we should just be really slow to make judgments when you see a brother like Deion Sanders, who has, every time you see a clip, it's like positive content. He's saying something positive or motivating or inspiring, right? So it's like, why not champion this person? You know what I'm saying? Regardless to the decision he makes about, you know, his career, look at what he has done, you know, and how motivating he is and how many, you know, kids he's helped. Like, he's been consistent. So, like, let's, you know, be happy for that. Let's be happy for the brother that he's, you know, well, he's created a platform of positivity.
Yeah, no doubt. And my thing is, like I always tell people, man, this is a business. The industry that he's in is a big business, and you can't take none of it personal. As I like to say, one of my favorite acronyms is DTIP. Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
And so, so he made a decision, a business decision. The only thing I would take away from Deion is that I think some people have the perception from his first, you know, year or two at Jackson State that he was there for the long haul, that, you know, he was there for that cause indefinitely. And so you got to, that's why you got to be careful with kind of when you're, you know, when you have a mission, when you're kind of speaking about, okay, what your plans are and stuff like that, because I think some people had the expectations that, yeah, he was going to ride this thing all the way, you know, till the wheels fell off. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying, though, like, that might have been the intent, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, in order for you to keep growing, you constantly have to change your environment. You constantly have to change your circumstances. You can't grow in the same spot. So, you know, that's not to say he won't come back. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end and be all. We don't know what other moves he may make, you know, but he has a process and he's growing and he's evolving. I think it's selfish for us to be like, no, you should definitely stay in one spot. Because and I think it's more so, it's like this idea of like he's like going towards the money versus continuing to help at HBCU. Right. And it's just like, that's what you would do.
Yeah, what if he could get the what if he can get access to resources in Colorado that he can redirect to HBCUs? Like you said, people talk a lot of stuff about you know what side they stand on with certain things and what they would do or what they're about or whatever. But to me, nothing matters until you put your dollars into it. There's no vote that's more important than your damn dollar. And this man had put dollars into HBCUs through his kids already. You know what I mean? So, and who knows what he would be able to do to be able to donate and all that stuff, you know, afterwards. And secondly, new slave mentality. If we're gonna hold Deion to certain standards, we got to hold everybody to that.
Yep.
Just all people keep that same energy, and not only for people that are famous and that are in the spotlight, but even for your own folks. Hey, you know, we got a lot of black businesses out here. You know what I mean? That people are not really checking for, or they're just kind of writing off without even giving them a try. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm on the soapbox right now because
it touched the spot. We get it.
Yeah, but
we're all there. I think anyone who's a minority entrepreneur is right there with you. Like, we definitely understand. But even more so, I was just sitting here thinking, like, you know, when we tear down somebody from our community that's doing great things and who has reached back and done things for us, because we don't like a decision that we make or they make or our perception of how they're moving, it really is a bad look, because it almost, in most cases, could make them be like, man, fuck it, I try to do stuff for the black community, they don't appreciate it. Like, you put them in that whole state. So like, I really don't like this negative energy that's, you know, from us towards him, because the last thing I would want him to do is just be like, you know, have a sense of us being ungrateful.
Yeah, and he's done a lot, man. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen him continue that and stay there longer, just like anybody else or whatever. But I understand the nature. It is a business, and this man does have a livelihood. He has, you know, a family, and probably other people outside of his, you know, actual immediate family that he takes, you know, he takes care of. You know what I mean? So as I always say, DTIP.